Welcome back to Lost in Roshar, the ultimate journey through the Stormlight Archive. I'm Christian Cremling.
And I'm Jimmy Stormblessed. Today, we are diving into Wind and Truth preview chapters 27 and 28. Spoiler warning for Wind and Truth, obviously, but also all the Stormlight Archive. Christian, how you doing, man?
Sleep deprived, tired, grumpy, and fulfilled in my father role to this little puppy who is teaching me responsibility, love, care, and attention. Pays off to a nice, polite dog eventually. Sometimes, surely it's going to happen soon. Yeah, it's going to happen. Nah, he's doing real well. It's just sometimes he needs to realize when I leave the room, I haven't puffed into smoke. I'm not an else caller. I shall return.
Nice. Way to wrap it in.
Just gonna weave it back there. Yeah.
That's why you're the best in the business, man. Honestly, I don't understand why anyone watches anyone that isn't you. It doesn't make any sense to me.
I mean, it's a purely auditory experience. Maybe that's it. Maybe if maybe if I showed my ugly mug, it wouldn't get as many views. That might make people switch it off. Hey guys, honestly, switching to audio only has made my life 1,000 times better. You know, I love it.
Yeah, it's unfortunate that podcasting isn't like nearly as big as YouTube. Now, I know someone's gonna be like, well, look at the biggest podcast. We're talking about like people who aren't the most famous people in the world. Like if you're trying to start a venture and you would really like to see like a large group come around and build a community, most of the time it's better to go on the YouTube route just because there's a natural algorithm that pushes you and whatever else. And people like visual things. We're in a visual society. They want the shorts. They want the reels. They want it.
It's strange that like podcasts became so visual because like the whole appeal of the podcast was you didn't have to watch anything. But
I think it's because of body language. Actually, I think the conversational piece, like it's not an interview, right? It's a conversation, and in a conversation, we subconsciously as humans just pick up on body language and signs of whether a person's interested or not. And I think people like to watch that and try to interpret what's going on between the two people, like if they're feeling each other or not.
Yeah, are we feeling each other, Jimmy?
Brother, I've been feeling you for many years.
For me, it's like, I don't know, like the Zoom call kind of looking video with talking heads. Like, I don't know, I just throughout lockdown and stuff on YouTube, I just didn't want to be another person doing that. So you can just stare at a book and a candle instead. That's what I'm offering. And I like that. I hope you enjoy it. But I'm keen to film some new backgrounds once I get the book in hand for Wind and Truth.
Who needs it?
I mean, you got to keep the people guessing.
You got to keep it fresh. So I actually, obviously we've been talking about Wind and Truth and how excited we are to go get the book, dude. Like I'm still so excited for it. But you know what I got? I got to tell people this. Most probably don't care, but I've been also talking about Tad Williams ending the Ostenard series, dude. So I could message Tad. I have his phone number and I have his email, and I'm flexing a little bit. Okay, listen, like I'm flexing about an author that like most people don't even know what I'm talking about right now. But I had an interview with him. We hit it off. We talked in emails. His wife emailed me. Like, great guy. I could have messaged him for an arc of his new book, not because I want to have it first so I can review it. Mm-hmm. I just wanted to know what happened.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean? I'm like, I'm dying to know what happens in this last book. However, I'm really big on not feeling entitled to things. So I refuse. And plus, I like Tad as a human being. I don't want him to think I want something from him. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, I gotcha.
It just doesn't feel right. So what I did was I saw a bunch of people who I know haven't even read the sequels getting the arc on Instagram. Right. So I messaged DAW and I sent them like my 4 or 5 videos featuring Tad Williams. Right. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, hey, could I get an arc? And they're like, yeah, for sure. But they didn't send it in time. Right. Oh. So I'm thinking I'm going to get the book like 4 or 5 days early, like an arc. That's stupid.
Yeah.
Bro, they sent me the first edition hardcover, like the release. Early.
Very
no
nice.
Floppy arc with the do not reset. They just sent me a first edition of it.
Oh, amazing.
And I'm like, this is so sick. And dude, the first chapter is such a banger. Like I was losing my mind reading it. Yeah. And then on top of that, obviously we've been reading Wind and Truth chapter. I just feel like I'm eating so good right now as an epic fantasy fan. There's a lot of talk about epic fantasy is not around anymore. It's romantasy. I have no problem with this trend. However, there are 2 epic fantasies releasing this year that will probably outsell most things. Really, let's be honest, it's probably just Brandon Sanderson. But Tad is also doing epic fantasy and has been doing it for 4 decades. And yeah, I don't know, dude. I feel really optimistic about it right now. Like just like fantasy in general, which is really fun because there are times where I feel like everything's a little dull, and that's not the case right now. And really cool to get that arc. Like,
yeah, that's amazing, dude. Yeah, and to actually, not an ebook with like a
first edition hardcover straight up. I was gonna buy it.
Yeah,
I might still buy it because I want to support
him.
Yeah, I do. And that stuff matters, by the way. I know some people say, "Oh, don't buy stuff till it's finished." Yeah, I would encourage you folks. You know, Sanderson's immune to this, but if you're a fantasy reader and you support a new author, you really should think about picking up their books as they come out. Wait till it's finished to read it. That's fine. But if you do not buy the book 1, there's no book 2, right?
So they need to see results quickly. Hey,
I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go buy book 4 of The Last King of Osnard, and I'm going to buy the first 3 while I'm there, and I'm going to gift them to somebody. I think that's what I'll do for Christmas.
Yeah, thanks, man.
Dude, I would love. Dude, did you start Dragonbone Chair?
I started Dragonbone Chair. Yeah, I'm about 100.
It's slow. I get it. Yeah. I get it.
I was like, when did I start reading that? Months ago. I don't know. I was in my period of like trying to find something new.
But I got you on Ishiguro, so me and you we're squared away.
Yeah, man. I read Clara and the Sun and Never Let Me Go. We got to talk about Never Let Me Go.
Yeah, actually, we should just end this now and talk about Never Let Me Go because I have so many things to say. What a great book.
Yeah, I loved it.
You see, this is why me and you are friends, dude.
I would love to read the Osternard series, but big chonkers, and it's a Wind and Truth season.
It is Wind and Truth season, and this kind of goes into it, man. Do you feel it? Do you feel it, bro? We're less than 30 days away.
Oh man, we've gotten a few comments this week of people being like, "Man, we're almost here. Can't wait to finally like listen to the podcast again." I would say we've lost about a third of our audience at least during these preview chapters.
Nerds.
So, yeah. So I can't wait for like the whole gang to be back. You know,
I'm going to be honest with you.
Yeah.
And I'm not being biased.
Okay.
I think these have been our best episodes.
I mean, we've been cooking.
We've been cooking
like, you know, rocking his stew, you know.
I genuinely feel, especially last week, like I feel we've figured it out. And it takes some time. You know, me and Christian are friends, but like presenting it as a show, it takes some time to figure things out. And I feel like these preview chapters, it's kind of what we've been waiting for. Though.
Yeah,
let's be honest.
The whole podcast was kind of designed thinking about the preview chapters coming out. You know, we'll do 1 to 2 chapters a week, and then it slots right in to the release of Wind and Truth.
I will say this, man, and I mean this.
Yeah,
I would rather not. There's no one else I'd rather do it with.
Yeah, likewise, man. 100%.
You made me appreciate Rhythm of War more. So
that's a long way. It's a tall task.
Dude, I've been thinking. Did I say this last time? I've been thinking about rereading Rhythm of War before the book comes out.
There's no way.
Well,
there's no way this is going to happen.
I've been thinking about it, and I'll tell you why. Because some people are saying, like, you guys are cooking, but man, some of the stuff was in Rhythm of War. And I'm like, wait, what? We had a comment. Dude, we had a comment from also, shout out to Adam Borst. Adam Borst not only comments on Lost and Roshar, he's been in my comment section for my YouTube channel forever. Like, for 5 years. So shout out to you, Adam. I appreciate you. He left this comment on our last video, which I thought our last video was really good. He said, I'm rereading Rhythm of War right now, well, audio, and I just hit a part where Wit had discovered that a Cremling had replaced his pen and was spying on he and Yasna, and their conversation mentioned that at least one Sleepless was aligned or had joined the Ghost Bloods. Who's to say there aren't multiple Cremling horde swarms aren't spying?
Oh my gosh.
Dude, this is the stuff where I'm like, now that I'm more like, you know, I'm conspiracy pilled.
Yeah.
I am so much more interested in going back and reading Rhythm of War because you know there's foreshadowing there. There's stuff there that's being revealed. And I mean, that's not even like a little thing. That's humongous. That's a humongous detail.
I love that.
I probably and this is the problem, right? With what we're doing.
Yeah.
We get really excited. We want to record the Wind and the Truth episodes. We're going to read that book as fast as we possibly can. And you miss on those line by line details
True.
that we did for all of Way of Kings, that we're doing for the preview chapters here. Folks, reading slowly and closely has its benefits. It really does. I mean, one, from kind of like a critique standpoint for writing, we don't really do that here. I do it privately while I'm reading, but like we don't talk about it on the podcast. But also for someone who is so layered and intricate and careful with his world building like Sanderson, you can get so much more mileage out of some of these sentences, dude. And this is why I knew that Rhythm of War, while I didn't love it when it came out, I knew I needed to reread it because I probably like it more on the second read. And it's things like this, I know I would love it.
I think we both will. Like, I loved Rhythm of War for sure, but I remember, it kicks off right at the end, and it's amazing. But when I finished it, there was also a little bit of like, man, I wish I was just like a touch more there. Which sounds ridiculous to say because it's a massive tome and there's a lot in there.
Big book.
Yeah, huge. But I don't know. I was like, oh, like, could we have done like a little bit more? But it's just not that kind of book. It's not that kind of book. So I'm keen to reread it.
It's also a fourth of a fifth.
That's what I mean.
4 or 5. Right? Yeah. It's a penultimate book.
Yeah.
It has a role to play in a series, right?
Yes.
So this is my problem. Whenever we see people talk, critics or YouTubers, whatever, talk about pacing. What do you mean by pacing? Do you mean pacing within the series? Do you mean pacing on the page? Do you mean pacing in the sentence? Do you mean pacing in the paragraph, the chapter, the part? Right? Like, it's so impossible to judge pacing with a clear, the pacing was bad or the pacing was good. So I think as a penultimate book, Rhythm of War is very good. And it does exactly what we want from a book from Stormlight Archive, which is what I said in my review. It furthered the plot, had character development, and put us in a position to be excited for the final book. With that said, I did not have the most fun reading it, but that's okay.
Yeah.
That's okay. It accomplished what it needed to do.
I feel like you have to be across so many facets of, I don't know, writing and storytelling to like judge the pacing of an epic fantasy book, because there's just like so many layers to this thing, and he's trying to achieve so much. Like, he's got to pace out the world, he's got to pace out the characters, he's got to pace out the Cosmere, the chapters, the dialogue, like everything. And I'm sorry, I'm not an expert. I'm just some dude who likes glowy magic, and when like Kaladin like ripped the pursuer's face off, I really enjoyed that. That's the part I like the most.
Christian, you're far more advanced than you give yourself credit for, my friend.
But when Vin headbutted that dude into like out of existence, I'm just like, just those moments. Thank you. Great book.
I agree with that. But by the way, you wouldn't be able to read Ishiguro the way you do and not be a good reader.
Okay, fair enough.
So I think you're not giving yourself enough credit. But my point is that there is stuff in Rhythm of War that I just glanced over.
Yeah.
What was I doing? Why did I care about finishing the book so fast? And that brings me and you to a very weird spot, right? Because when it comes out, of course we want to get it done. One, to find out what happens. What happens next? That's a fun way of reading, but it's different than the close reading that we have been doing. So you and I mean, we still haven't really ironed out how we're going to do this thing, and we need to do that probably.
Yeah, we need to figure that out.
We probably need a plan.
Yeah, it's like we never accounted for the book actually releasing. What happens after that? We're like the dog chasing its tail. What happens when you catch it?
The idea would be so in an ideal world, folks. You're hearing the brain workshopping right now.
Yeah, let's do
brainstorming. That's what I was looking for.
Yeah.
I think it would be best to do an episode per part.
Right. Without reading further?
Like, well, yes. However, me and you both know we're not going to do that.
I don't know about that. Yeah.
There's no chance.
I don't know about that, Jimmy.
There's literally not a chance.
I don't think so. I don't think so.
So what's going to happen? We'll probably do an episode, and I don't know if we'll do this, so don't hold us to us, folks. To that, folks. But it is going to probably be like me and Christian coming on and being like,
"Oh my god,
holy crap! This is huge." Yeah. Doing an episode, and then maybe breaking it down per thing, or we might have multiple episodes about the ramifications of things that have happened, character arc. I mean, there could be 10 episodes about Wind and Truth, but then eventually we're going to get there, and we're gonna reread it, and that's when we'll probably do more of the close reads.
Yeah, like there's going to be a whole bunch of Wind and Truth episodes, I'm sure. Like there's going to be a million topics to cover, but then eventually we got to go back to back to the
Words of Radiance,
Words of
which is
Radiance,
going to be
man.
so much better with the finale of the first
Oh.
era.
Yeah, we can finally look at this series as kind of like a whole, kind of, and see.
It's big, man. It's really big.
See the seeds he was planting way back when.
I think the books will be more impressive with the ending. Also, by the way, hopefully we like the ending. I don't know. Maybe I won't. Maybe I won't like it, Christian. What happens then?
When Kaladin's on the moon, flossing, looking down on Roshar.
Doing the L Fortnite dance.
Yeah. Oh, 100%.
Oh, my God, no. All right, listen. We're already 15 minutes into this bad boy, and we're just like going off as fanboys excited about this release. But I mean, we are within a month, folks. I mean, we've been waiting for this for a couple years. Last Stormlight book for potentially 8 to 10 years.
Big mistake.
I agree.
Biggest mistake in fantasy.
I know a lot of you folks out there love Sanderson. He can do no wrong, but I do think this is a mistake. I think it's a mistake.
I mean, look, in the
imagine if Tolkien had taken a break. You know what I mean?
I love that.
Imagine if Tolkien had taken a break.
What would Tolkien have done?
Because I still believe that Stormlight Archive gets to get put into that echelon of fantasy. I said this in my Way of Kings review, and I still mean it. When you look at the ambition of the series, there are not many people who have taken on the task that Sanderson has. And to do it the way he has done it is incredible. Mm-hmm. And whether you like the series or not, I honestly, obviously everyone listening to this does like the series, but regardless what everyone thinks, it is a prominent figure in the fantasy genre and will be forever, I think. Oh, yeah, definitely. And the idea that there's something that's pausing it for 10 years, slightly concerning. Like just a little concerning, but kind of depends what it is. Hey, he might want to build that like even more mass appeal. Let's launch the Mistborn movies, and then book 6 comes out, and it's just like, your middle-aged co-worker in brackets us, when actually that's actually going to be us. Damn it. Okay, but like everyone else is like, hey, did you? I don't know, maybe not. I don't think Stormlight will ever get that mass appeal-y. It's still, the barrier to entry is kind of high. I'm happy for the man. He's an artist. He gets to do what he wants. That's what art's all about. And he has stories to tell. He wants to tell. And I think that's a beautiful thing. But as a selfish Stormlight fan, I'm like, I wish every single piece of him was just being put into this series. But hey, you know what? Good for him. And good for the fans. Yeah, and good for the fans that want the other stuff too. Not saying I don't. I'm just saying it's not always a hit. Whereas Stormlight, I'm like, Stormlight go burr kind of thing. Yeah, 100%. Look, there's a part of me that definitely wants to read about Mistborn in the 80s. Like, a part of me is just like, all right then, Sanderson, like, you seem pretty enthusiastic. Right. Let's see what you got going on. But after that, come on, man. Good day. Yeah, good day, Sanderson. Good day. All right, man. 2 of the shortest chapters so far. Shortest chapters. May I read some comments I liked on our last video? Let's hear it. So this one's from good old Amanda. She says, Jimmy, Shallan's mom is definitely not dead. If Shallan's really caused the desolation, if Shallan really caused the desolation, it was because she killed her mother, and her mom, the Herald, immediately came back to Roshar, breaking the oath pact. She's hanging out somewhere around the planet. So you and I have been talking. These are comments from the last episode. We've been talking about the possibilities that maybe Shallan has even seen her mother, and that she's hanging around. Yeah, she's around somewhere. Yeah, right? Look, if you were a herald and you keep respawning, wouldn't you check on your child just to see that she's doing all right? Maybe you wouldn't say hi. That might be a bit much, but you'd be watching. You'd be looking, right? Well, yes. And someone might say, well, wouldn't Shallan recognize her mother? But maybe the Shallan we know is not the original personality, which is something I touched on last episode. And Cody Watkins 17 said, I'm kind of with Jimmy. I think there's another Shallan personality, but I think the other one we don't know about is the original personality of her. And Shallan we know was created after she killed her mother. I'm going to propose something. Okay. All right. We've had a lot of... And someone said, stop saying tin foil, say aluminium foil. And I understand where you're coming from. I'm going to adopt it. Aluminium foil. Wait, you called it aluminium. I called it aluminum. Oh, sorry. Aluminum. Well, I'm not saying you're wrong. We say aluminium. We spell it right. We spell it completely different. Okay. We say aluminium. Anyway, whatever. I'm wearing my hat. What if... This is such a waste of time. What if Shallan
is her mother, and we don't even know why. We don't even know who Shallan is, dude. We don't even know where she doesn't even exist, man.
That is so ridiculous.
We're 1 month out of release, guys. 1 month out. I promise. This is as bad as it gets.
We have hit ground zero.
What if the rock Szeth found was actually Shallan? I don't know. Anything's possible, guys. You don't know what's going on.
She is a bit hard-headed.
Oh, but I'm pretty good.
Bad joke of the week segment early. Yes, actually, I have plenty more. Okay. So this is from Christian, not you.
Yeah, different one.
It says, "Oh man, I love this idea. What if the time skip consists of most of Adolin's family disappearing for however many years, and they come back, and Adolin is a full-blown tyrant / warlord?"
I want that. I want the good guy gone bad arc for somebody. If it's got to be Adolin, so be it. Yeah, I think, was it this comment? Somebody, either this comment or someone else, kind of said Dalinar and Navani or whoever, there's going to be like time hijinks in the spiritual realm. So they're gone for 5 minutes, but it's been 31 years, right? And they come back. Well,
there's another comment that comments on this and says that Dalinar never comes back.
Oh,
and I think that this, and I know a lot of people are going to say, of course, Dalinar's come back, whatever. He's going to be the champion, but one, great subversion, but two, aren't we reading about Nohadon walking away?
Mm-hmm. Oh, right. And the parallels.
Which also feeds into the baby champion theory. Because in these epilogues today we'll talk about it, talks about walking away from a fight.
Oh, yeah. Sometimes that's there's no shame in that, or something like that was the quote.
What if Dalinar walks away from the champion contest?
He sees the baby, he says, nope, I'm out.
He says, Gavinor, I can't slay him. I can't do it. Hey, listen, I'm just saying, look into it. Okay. Yeah. One last comment. One last comment from Jason Bailey. Says Navani is going to become cultivation, and Dalinar is going to become honor, and Gavilar will be haunted by the fact that the people he wrote off both achieve what he could not.
Oh man.
I like where you're going, but Gavilar's dead. So he wouldn't know. And I think you need him to be alive for that to work. Well, I mean,
dude, he's in the statue.
Theories.
Yeah, he's in the statue.
Yeah, I mean, we have talked about this plenty of times.
Okay, well, I don't know. How do you feel about that if all our shards very quickly become, like, I kind of want to get to know the shards first before they get replaced. Like, I think it's cool that Taravangian is now Odium, but I feel like I never knew Reyes all that well, and I kind of wish I did.
Yeah, a lot of the Reyes stuff, honestly, I find myself not super invested in when they talk about who Reyes was, and because like you're gone, it don't matter.
Yeah, like I'm sure, like he's clearly done a lot for thousands of years. But to us, he just had a couple of chats with Dalinar, and then got killed. So
and that was kind of a wrap.
Yeah, it was kind of a wrap. Whereas Gavilar, someone who died quickly, we're very curious about. There's still more.
I think the walking away piece of this is very interesting. I think Navani becoming cultivation is wild, because she's had a relationship with sibling. Why is Sanderson putting her on this mission with Dalinar, except to have Navani have some sort of monumental moment? I think that's pretty crazy. You know what I came out of these chapters with today? Well, we're about to go into these chapters right now.
Yeah.
Bro. What? I don't know if you're ready for this.
I don't think so, man.
We've been talking about who could take up honor.
Yeah.
We've been talking about what could happen with honor. Maybe multiple people take up honor.
Yeah. So what's going to happen?
Are you ready?
Yeah.
What if Kaladin and Moash take up honor together?
And change it to like something else. Honor and dishonor.
He has an honor blade right now.
True.
And his actions for what he had done could be seen as potentially honorable.
It's all about which side of the fence you're on.
His perspective when he stabs Elhokar through the chest is that Elhokar killed his family. Yeah. Right? Elhokar, he doesn't know about the redemption arc. He doesn't know about that. No. He didn't read those chapters. He stabbed him through the chest.
Yeah.
And might have been justified. What if Moash and Kaladin both take up honor as two sides? Moash matters so much.
Where is he? Where is Moash right now?
We talked about this last week. I said, isn't this a Szeth book? Like, where is my Szeth stuff? We did get some Szeth this week. Still not enough for me. But I'm also thinking, like, where's Moash? Like we cannot save him to the end of this book. He has to start coming in here soon, right?
Bro, he doesn't even know where he is. He's blinded. He doesn't know what's going on, dude. He's wandering through the wilderness. Wait a minute. Right. What's the last thing that happened? Like Navani, life before death, you bastard, stabbed him. What happened after that? Don't know. Can't remember. Host of a Stormlight podcast.
I don't know if anything does happen with him after he stabs him.
Yeah, maybe we just but like, where did he go? Did he just like kind of run away? See,
I just feel like he's had these big significant. He killed a king. He has an honor blade. He killed one of Dirge 4. Like, he has this legend building about him.
Yeah. The antithesis to Kaladin, and Kaladin's not over it, man. He ain't over it.
I don't think Kaladin triumphs Moash and Moash goes away. I don't think that's how this book ends.
Yeah, there's obviously a massive arc planned that's in the process of about to being fulfilled. I don't know if he'll be like. He reminds me a lot of what's his name? There's a lot of parallels to what's his name? Also I think in Mistborn.
Oh,
no, in Mistborn. Kelsia's brother reminds me of him. Jimmy doesn't remember.
Very close to Mistborn from my. I only have so much hard drive space, folks.
Yeah, that's all good, bro. But yeah, there's let's go. Let's do this.
Let's do this because we're already talking about the chapters at this point. Chapter 28, I'm going to read the it's 27 and 20, but we're going to read the epigraph first just to get it out of the way.
Yeah, let's do it.
So the epigraph for chapter 28 named Obstacle says, I do not have answers, and there will always be some who denounce me for this decision I made. But let me teach a truth here that is often misunderstood. Sometimes it is not weakness, but strength to stand up and walk away. From the Wave King's parable.
So Noadon was a bit of a, had a bit of a speech impediment or something.
I don't know what I was doing, to be honest. This is what I was talking about, though, right? It's not a weakness, but strength to stand up and walk away.
Yes, and you're taking that as like you're fully under the impression that this is going to be a parallel to
Dalinar.
Current day Dalinar.
I heard some people saying Tanavas and Nohadon. I don't think that's that far fetched. But Dalinar's about to go on a journey.
Yeah, there's a theory brewing that Tanavast gave up honor and became Noadon. Hence this whole strength, not
that's
weakness, to walk away.
That's it. No, you actually nailed it. Nohadon was honor. Yeah, that's it.
So?
Yeah, no, that's it.
Case closed. I mean, it does make sense with the visions that Dalinar gets and how they lead to Noadon himself. You could see that maybe honor was so honorable that he gave up the shard of honor. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Nohadon
honor's a very complicated shard. It's just like life is so nuanced. Just to fulfill whatever you think honor is very difficult, because who's to say? Like you said with Moash, who's to say who's right in certain scenarios? So yeah, maybe it is. Maybe he did walk away.
Spot on, bro. The spot on.
There you go. Because it says there will always be some who denounce me for this decision I made. But he also previously was the Almighty gave me this position. Is he talking about himself being Almighty?
Well, there's someone above honor.
Above honor. Well, honor came from something else.
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah. Well,
and also, if he abandons the shard, is the shard not still almighty? He is not almighty without the shard, so therefore the shard is actually almighty, right?
Maybe he was is it so honorable being up in the sky? I need to be down with the people. I'm going to be an actual king.
That sounds like a lot like Kaladin, by the way.
Lots of parallels. It's going to be very interesting. And it's going to be so satisfying to finally know what the heck's going on here.
Hopefully. we're assuming.
Surely. If we're getting stuff from the Way of Kings, we're going to want to reread that bloody book again. Believe it or not, we
No,
are.
I just did it. Christian, no. It took us a year. I can't do it again.
All those strap chapters. We're going back. We're going back
Good God.
to the strap.
Never again. Chapter 27 is What is Right, and it is a flashback of 26 years ago, which is the second half of the preview Szeth chapter that Sanderson had already previously released. Christian, take it away.
It was good, right? After me
very
hyping it up,
Yeah.
it gets interesting. All right, so many things I've been dying to say. To be honest, guys, I didn't cross-reference this time. I didn't get the old chapter reading up. Let's just deal with what we're dealing with now. All right, okay, so some little notes about this chapter. What's interesting, I'm just looking at the naming conventions for Shin people. And so far, like Neutero and Zanid, or whatever his mum's name is, still sound kind of weird. But his mum's mother, his grandmother's name was Beth. So I'm like, ooh, so did we start with like quite traditional fantasy-esque names and then start getting a little more Rosharian? Then he said his mum's at a painting class, and I thought, ooh, painting is something that adds in this whole like world of we must add and not subtract. So I thought that.
And Yumi.
Yeah, and Yumi, and maybe there is some magical painting going on. Very interesting because there's a focus on color as well with the Shin people and their splashes, but not to be too audacious with their colors. You should maybe have one, but it seems like his mum is pretty like audacious in their little microcosm. Then we get like a nice little shout out that Shin people actually know different birds. They're not all just chickens to them. So they have carrier parrots, which is cool.
Yeah, I thought that was neat. Whenever they first said it, whatever they called it, like tech or something like that, I was like, wait, do they have like like that? That was my first thing. It was like, no, pigeon. I was like, oh, okay, that makes sense.
That'd be so cool if he just like, wait, can you FaceTime mum real quick? We got a new rock in town.
Yeah, give her a little ring a ding ding ding, please.
Yeah. Also, farmer is capitalized. So is that just because it's like a high station or
nobility? Yeah, that's what I was gonna guess. Yeah.
Okay, right. And then we get a whole lot of Spren stone stuff, right? So it seems like there's a Spren of their family stone that they pray to. So,
and they had a stone, and they should be happy about finding a new stone, but unfortunately, it's on their land. Maybe they'll have to move. I have a little bit of a question for you, Christian.
Ask away. And before you do, we already talked about it being Shallan or her mother. So it's
not that crazy.
Okay, yeah, all right. What's your question?
So, we're talking about rocks, right?
Yeah, we are.
What is a rock to us?
Just a bit of just a rock, isn't it?
What if what if the rocks we're reading about are not the rocks that we know about? Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, the pros of the written medium. He can slip things by us. So we think it's a rock as we know it, but it's indeed something else. What are you picturing?
I didn't get that far, brother.
Okay.
But I was just thinking when they're talking about these rocks, it almost makes it sound like something else. And I said, well, who's to say that this translation of Wind and Truth and of the Stormlight Archive, because it's kind of like a translated work, like we're reading the Stormlight Archive, right? Who's to say that a rock is what a rock is here?
The only thing that makes me doubt that is later on we realize Szeth has also been recounting this to Kaladin.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh yeah, so it's a rock. And they're like, yeah, it's a rock. So probably not. But I like that. I still think there's something funky going on because the way when his mom is talking about moving it, she's like, we'll just make it look like it naturally kind of came up. Suggesting that this one has come up unnaturally. Do you know what I mean? Like it had a will of its own.
That's what I was saying.
Right.
And that's why I was like, these cannot be just simple rocks.
Well, there's something going on. Clearly, yeah, because also when they go to move it, they look at their current family stone and are glad it doesn't smite them. So they think this, if they're blasphemous, that this stone is going to, hurt them.
So there's no way this is a sleepless, right?
I mean, that would be cool. I don't think so. I think...
Okay.
Well, there's clearly some sort of like some sort of living organism, whether it's the stone itself or a spread inside of it, or like ancestors, memories, cognitive shadows. Something is in this in stones in general on Roshar. I think that's a pretty clear to say. But how much of it is like what they're being taught by the stone shamans, and how much of it is based in reality? That's the question. And Szeth has obviously been raised in a world that's like quite black and white, I suppose, because he's just like, just tell me what the right thing to do is, and I'll just do that. But unfortunately, it's not that simple, is it?
It's not, but in his mind, in present day where we're at, he is very sure of what to do and what not to do. It's all going to stem back to this moment, right?
Oh yeah, it's very clear, like that. He's kind of been the way he is for a long time, since childhood, and it checks out that he's with the Skybreakers, who are just like, this is the law, therefore I must do this. It's like very clear cut, so that appeals to him.
Yes.
But he's got no more, cute little sheep to hug when he's feeling stressed.
None. Zero.
Hopefully no rams in the area. I'm just trying to look out for Kaladin there. Yeah. So sorry, I just gotta really dig the Amaram joke into the ground.
I really love it.
Thank you so much. But yeah, so then like they're under attack, and then let's connect this to like the current day scene, which we get in the next chapter between Kaladin and Szeth, because Kaladin's like, hey man, that was just getting interesting right about then, and Szeth's like, no more talking about that, because he talks about being what's the terminology he uses, like not lifted, advanced, like something like that. I'm forgetting the term, but he
seems like he's very
elevated,
high class or intelligent. Yeah.
Elevated. I was elevated because there's this whole uncomfortable energy where they make, the 10-year-old child make the big decision about if we move this rock. So why is that? Why are they putting it all on Szeth? Do they think he's going to tell on them if he doesn't make the call himself?
So last week we talked about it maybe it being he's significant for some reason because of who he is. Reading it now, I actually don't think so. I think it's more about like, well, you found it, you got to deal with it, buddy. Like it's not because because it's Szeth,
Right. It's interesting because he is starting to realize too that his family aren't as stringent about their religion as he is. Because they're kind of like, look, we listen to what they say, then we interpret it and apply it in a way that suits us. Yeah. Which, I feel like a lot of people are like that. And this is a part of growing up when you realize, it's not just exactly the way they've taught us. Yeah. But I guess, I don't know, because we've got this thing where he's like, then I was elevated and then I was trained at these places to deal with the honor blades. We have a like a temple for each one of the honor blades. So why was Szeth picked? Maybe it's to do with whatever happens when these raiders come. Maybe he does something pretty heroic or noteworthy, and they're like, "Oh, this kid's great. He's really protecting these stones. Let's get him into training."
Yeah, it's unclear how we get to point A to point B right now, because it's also very unclear how all this works, like their society.
Yeah, well, we get one more clue, which is that the people who are being trained to have the honor blades are like soul casting metal for the Shin people, because you can't mine it because that involves touching stone. So when his mum comes with a shovel, he's like, oh my god, like that's one of the things made by an honor bearer. You've got like that's a very significant tool, a shovel, So it seems like there's a huge power imbalance where if you want any sort of metal, it's coming from these religious temples up on hills, divvied out as such. But yet again, the farmers are at the top of the hierarchy. It's very interesting.
It is. It's very like, and why did this come to pass? Was this how it was on Ashen? Like, we don't know to this point. Do you want to jump to the second half of 28, by the way?
I said that. Yeah, we should do that. Yeah.
I think this is a good idea. Because I'm just looking at it and it's such a significant amount and we're kind of already on that train of thought.
Yeah, go for it.
Shallan stuff doesn't feel as prominent to me.
I got a couple of theories, but yeah.
I was hoping
Yeah.
I was hoping. So what do you make of this dark spot that they're talking
Well,
about?
I don't know if you recognize this, but we got like maybe a year ago, we got some key art of like Kaladin flying in and Szeth crouching. Do you know the one I'm talking about? I'll send it to you
I don't remember this.
because this scene is depicted like as one of the first art pieces we got for Wind and Truth. This very, very moment, I'm going to link it to you right now, where they've just flown down and are looking at this dark spot in Shinnova.
Yeah,
So
let me look at this.
very cool.
I know as soon as I see it, I'm going to remember it.
Yeah,
Yep, I remember this.
yeah. So this is the dark spot with like a purpley kind of void light anti-stormlight look. So it's the Unmade influencing this town.
God, give me an anime.
Yeah, right. Were you taken back to Warbreaker here with the kind of
Yes.
desaturated color effect?
Yes, very much so. And me just sitting there being like, is Vasher down there? I don't know. Like I'm thinking Warbreakers. So I'm trying to like piece it together. You know what I mean?
It feels like for me, it's like the Unmade is feeding off the life of the people.
Most likely true. Yeah.
So it's like kind of sapping their breaths and creating, what were they called in Warbreaker? Like the husks or whatever they were.
Yeah, I think husk maybe.
Something like that.
We just read it. I just can't remember.
Yeah. So I guess maybe it's fueling itself like that. Although Szeth said that the people embrace the Unmade. So I wonder what they're getting out of it or what they think they're getting out of it. Interesting. But interesting that Kaladin, I love this now. It's finally kind of settling in for me. This was the first time where I'm like, this feels really awesome. The Kaladin and Szeth thing.
It's so much more interesting than the Shallan piece, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree.
And I didn't know it was in the second half of this chapter. So whenever I finished the Shallan part, I was like, oh, okay, that was okay. Yeah. And then I see that we're back with Szeth. I'm like, yes.
Yeah, it was so good. Yeah, okay. So I guess that's all we can say for the Unmade. We've still got lots to learn there. And then we hear about like which honor blades are gone. So Nail took his. Talon's, he said that one was gone, right? Because he's got. Oh no, I don't think he had his. I think there's a whole Words of Brandon where the blade that Talon was actually holding at the Way of Kings actually wasn't his blade. So it's out there somewhere. Don't know who has it. Someone can correct me.
Well, it says which blade should have held, and it says Talma. I heard you call him Talon Nalat or Talm.
Yeah.
So we know it's gone, right?
Yeah.
It's supposed to be here, but it's not.
Yes. So Nails is because he has it. Talon's is, I don't think he actually has his blade, but it's gone. Then there's Yezrian's, who now it's in the possession of Moash. And was there any more that he said that aren't there? Or is it just those three? I think it was just those three.
I think so.
Yeah. So then but then there's this whole lore that Shinnova, for whatever reason, has each of the Herald's blades. Why? Like the biggest question there is obviously why. Who knows?
Yes.
And then we go back to that thing we were saying. Did the prelude actually take place in Shinnova? The more I think about it, or is it like a
friend? So
there's a symbolic element to Shinnova, right? Because it's like the welcoming spot of humans. It's where so I guess maybe that's just simply the reason why for the Heralds to have their stuff there, to like respect that this is our spot. You know, we don't want to set up outside of what, like, we didn't even know how Shinnova was created, right? Was it like even talked about with the Parshendi beforehand, or did they just plop it down? And
probably just plopped it down if I had to guess.
Yeah, just like, hey, we're here.
Seems like the human thing to do.
Yeah, I think so. So there's also Kaladin says, the darkness reminds me of the darkness around Kolinar Palace. An Unmade lived there. You really met one here in Shinnova? And Szeth is like, yeah. And Kaladin asks, when was this? After you discovered a rock on your family's ground? And Szeth says, the meeting was much later, but that day with the rock, the raid, that was the beginning. And then he doesn't want to talk about it anymore.
So do we think the Unmade was stuck in the rock that he found?
Ooh, that's a nice little theory. I like that.
It has to be something like
The
that,
Unmade's
right?
like, I'm here.
Yeah, and it kind of like sets everything into motion.
That could be cool.
It's
I like
interesting because
that.
he kind of says, "Oh, your family," and he's like, "None of that matters. All is for naught." Edgelord kind of rhetoric here, but then the paragraph that follows is very important. It says, Kaladin shoved aside his annoyance at Szeth and looked again at the patch of darkness. Then he glanced at the sun, which was getting close to setting. He wasn't certain how all of this connected. Ishar, Dalinar's quest of him, and Szeth's story. But if there was an Unmade, but he didn't want to risk encountering it at night. Kaladin had faced them at Kholinar, where he'd failed to protect the people. Even the Unmade he'd eventually defeated when it had worn Amaram's body had been extremely dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
So we get our signpost here from Sanderson. Ishar, Dalinar's quest, and Szeth's story are all connected.
Yes. And you've reminded me that Ishar is the other herald who has his blade.
I realized that we had forgotten to talk about him. So it has something to do with Ishar. It has something to do with what Dalinar is doing currently, and then Szeth's story. Like, there's no way, like, no Hadon stuck in a rock or something weird, right? Like,
someone somewhere is stuck in a rock.
Yeah, somebody is in limestone, and it's a problem.
Oh, what a miserable time for them. But anyway, okay, so I think that's more or less all we can say for now on that front. And then, well, I guess it ends with Kaladin being like, you know what? I think I got to cook up some stew, baby.
Yep, we're getting the stew bonding time. Yep.
Yeah. Do we think there's something magical in that stew, or is it just like the broing out?
I think it's just the bro down.
Yeah, the bro down of campfire and stew. It's the secret to everything. And then I guess we go to Shallan with the Ghost Bloods and all the, the D&D rolling of attacks and defenses and all this cool stuff. But I have a theory that I'm gonna throw out there. And I did peruse the internet to see if anyone had thought of this. This is an original one. So either I'm onto something or I'm completely misconstruing it. So we get a name drop of who Shallan was impersonating. Aleen, Alen. And I saw that name with the double E, and I just thought, this looks like a very, very Kandra kind of name to me.
Uh-oh.
And I went on the Compomind, and I just, like, if you go on the Compomind right now, man, go to Kandra, and then click Notable Kandra, and then look at the naming conventions of all the notable Kandra. Could you see Aleen being added to that list? Like, they all have the double vowel thing going on.
Oh my God, you're right.
Right? And last week, I was so hung up on the fact that Eatel asked Shallan if that worked with her plans. So she must be someone significant. This must be like a significant Kandra. And the Kandra
you nailed it.
Right? Yes. Surely I've got something this week.
You're the GOAT, dude.
I don't know, man. I just saw that. I'm like, that's a Kandra name. So,
I'll put money on it.
Okay, me too. I'm pretty confident in that one. So hopefully.
I'm sorry.
That's fine. That's fine. All good. Yeah. Damn, dude. I think we've got a Kandra plot in the Ghost Bloods, and I'm going to take it a step further.
Okay.
And I'm going to attribute this one. This one's not an original from me. I did see this in the Reddit thread, and I thought it totally checks out. So in the prologue, the amended prologue, the final prologue of this book, we realized that Gavilar was working with Vasha. Vasha was making all this anti-light, anti-void light, all the hardcore Stormlight terms, right? He was the scientist.
Okay.
And then last chapter, we got the Ghost Blood showing off, oh, look at this cool crossbow with my anti-void light, whatever.
Of course. Yeah.
And also in Rhythm of War, after about part 1, Vasha kind of disappears from the entire plot.
Classic Vasher. Yeah.
And we never see him again.
Never again.
And someone proposed, what if the Ghost Bloods have taken Vasha ransom and making him make them weapons and stuff? And I thought that really checks out.
2 world hoppers, like kind of, wow. Okay. I
That
like
could
it.
be good. I like that as a plot thread. Because like,
I
where was
like
he
that.
in Etheria for like the whole thing? And Brandon's like, oh, he just had other things to attend to.
I
So
really like that theory. That's really good.
yeah, so I think that's another one we should look out for. If Vasher is either working with or he's either infiltrating or has been captured by the Ghost Bloods, potentially. Because like, I think to make that kind of stuff, you can't just like quickly figure that one out. I think you need an expert. So
Yeah.
that's something. And then like there was a weird instance of truth being capitalized in the Shallan chapter, which I took note of. I'm gonna look at it now because like I know that it could just be her like speaking truths because like light weavers speak truths for their ideals. But the way it was used in her chapter, it says she had spoken truth with a capital. Like, do you think it's simply that talking about her ideals, or
It could be, but she is
right?
kind of going off here, right? Like,
Yeah,
this is a Shallan like power display in many ways.
yeah, definitely. So I just thought like wind and truth. If truth is suddenly capitalized, maybe truth isn't like another thing going on. Maybe. Regardless, yeah. So we get like she is going off, but we also get the nerf because she has to, in order to like not kill her armor spread and stuff, she had to like dismiss her armor.
Yeah.
And actually get hit by that crossbow bolt.
Mm-hmm.
And we get the cool thing of like, she's like, oh, I could maybe take in this anti-void light and do something with it, but we don't know what that means. We don't know what that. Well, I know. I think Venli can do that. She takes in both.
Yeah, I think that's a Venli thing.
Yeah. So
what is Venli doing?
Yeah, where are the Parshendi?
Where's Renarin?
Yeah, who knows, dude? There's a lot of like, where is Renarin actually? Where the heck is he?
It is a little bit of a weird start to this book because it's been so scoped on like 4 or 5 characters, whereas like Rhythm of War was like time jump everybody.
Yeah. Wait
Very
a minute.
weird.
I want to go back now. When did part 2 start? And when we got all the it would be after the interludes. Where like I want to see, because it told us like the perspectives we're getting in part 2.
Yeah, and it's like a metric boatload of them, right?
Yeah, so I don't remember seeing Renarin.
I don't think I saw Renarin on that list, but we should definitely check before
I'm checking now. Yeah, before we.
I'm trying to remember. It would be right after the interludes. So yeah, right here.
Chapter 14.
15.
Yeah.
Day 2. Dalinar, Yasna, Navani, Fen, Yenagon. I always mess it up. Adolin, Shallan, Szeth, Sigil, Kaladin, Lift, Renarin.
Oh, yes, there is.
Rlain and Lopen. Yeah. Okay. So we will be seeing a Renarin, which means it will probably.
And Rlain.
Yeah.
Dude, there's so many POVs.
Yeah. When are we going to get to them?
So what? So who have we read from in day 2? We've read from Dalinar, Navani, and okay, yeah. Have we read from Adolin? Yeah, we read from Fen. Yeah,
Yanagon, right?
Yeah,
Adolin, Shallan, Szeth, Sigil, I think, right?
Yeah, we have briefly. Yes,
Paladin, and then we have not done Lopen, Rlain, or Renarin or Lift.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay, so it's completely in order. So maybe they next week. Maybe.
You heard it here first, folks. Confirmed. Monday, you will be seeing chapters from Lift and Renarin.
Oh, man, I can't wait to hear from Renarin and Rlain. What's Lift going to do? That's another big question.
Probably eat pancakes and say memes. I don't know.
If anyone's flossing, actually, it's probably...
Oh, my God. Slide canceling.
She actually is. She's just a big slide canceller stuck on Roshar. Oh my God.
Using the Model L, just ripping. Just random COD references at the end of the episode.
Oh man. I mean, the other but beyond like the Chandra theory, it's cool. Like they did disappear and there's this purple light. So they are using the weird anti-light. And I guess they're else callers. I'm assuming they're going to Shadesmar. And also, just a shout out to like the alien magic. Like just seeing the roof freaking melt was awesome. Yeah. I missed that, man. I feel like it's been a minute since we had a good old like unsettling soul casting moment. That was really sick.
Yeah. I do you feel a little just overall underwhelmed by Mraize?
Yeah.
Okay. I do too.
Yeah, I do. It's just, I don't know, like there's a lot of build up and then it's kind of done. Like we'll get him next time sort of thing.
So much more interested in the Szeth.
Right now. I mean, it's cool that he was proud of her and stuff, but I don't know. It's just like, yeah, like, look, it's fine. It's fine. It's just not like the Szeth stuff. I mean, we've been wondering about Shin forever. So
all of it's going to be connected to. So like, people are going to be able to point back at the end of the book and be like, haha, you guys didn't see it. Like, but yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, sure.
It's just, I don't know. Mraize has always felt like a character that I've been expecting a lot from, and every single time. And there are some twists and turns of Mraize's character arc, especially like in this chapter, for instance. Mm-hmm. But like overall, I don't know. Mraize is a little underwhelming.
Yeah, I think, look, I've seen a bit of that sentiment that the Shallan stuff's a bit underwhelming, but again, like we've always said, week to week, we'll see. Definitely. We'll see what happens. But hey man, let's in the interest of keeping it tight, let's throw in some bad jokes. And there is one span read I thought was actually quite good. So we'll see if we can be bothered to throw in a span read as well. We'll do that. There's a pretty good one. All right. I don't have any bad jokes this week, man. But you know who does? Graham. So
okay, let's hear it.
Graham says, hello, I just discovered your podcast when the new Wind and Truth chapter started releasing. Oh, cool, a new viewer when we lost most of our audience. That's good. And it has been a blast listening to your theories every week. Here's my submission for bad joke of the week. Ooh, thanks, Graham. Let's hear it. Why is it important for Parshendi with low gem heart rates to take a form of power?
Why?
It comes with a carapace maker.
All right, that's gas. That's
Graham, you've come in hot with a successful.
Wow. Joke. Okay, I loved it.
That was
really good.
We'll give you that. Oh, let me see if I can find one more. Oh, you know what? I would, but they've stolen a punchline from someone else, so I'm not going to do that one.
Oh no!
Yeah, look, guys, we got to be respectful.
We're already getting forgeries. This is crazy.
Patrick has let us know that we missed a great bad joke opportunity last week. He says, greetings, fellow Cremlings. After listening to episode 60, I finally found the occasion to span read you all, as this was an opportunity I could not pass up. One of the benefits of having an audience, a horde of listeners, if you will, is that we can catch things others miss. You mentioned that Wit has all of his memories stored away, and I caught a great joke that was missed. Where does Wit store all of his memories? On his Hoid drive.
I'll give it there. Hey. Those are two slammers. I like them.
Yeah. Oh, and then Patrick was the one who also told me to change it to aluminium foil. So thanks, man. Thank you so much.
Hey, Pat, don't tell us what to do.
Pat says, love the show. I enjoy listening from the hills of Vermont while working at a resort. Ooh, this winter I look forward to resurfacing an ice rink while listening to Lost in Roshar along with all my other favorite podcasts.
Shout out to Vermont.
Yeah.
Love Vermont.
Ice rink, man. Ice rink, Lost in Roshar listening. That's a new one. People usually walking their dogs or like doing the dishes, but he's at a resort and getting an ice rink ready.
Right. I love to hear it.
Do we want to throw in a span read or we'll save it for next week?
Go ahead. Yeah.
Oh, it's cutting out. Throwing a span read?
Ooh. Yeah, let's do a span read. Yeah.
I think it's my internet.
His internet is failing him.
Okay, come on, internet, settle.
Much like Kaladin has failed Bridge 4 at many moments and caused Szeth to die.
Oh,
I really want to use expletives right now to swear at Christian, so he has to edit the podcast.
I know you're saying some messed up stuff right now. I just know it. Alrighty, people, my internet is totally stuffing up, so we will do the span reads next time. So as always, thank you for accompanying us on this episode of Lost in Roshar. Remember, the most important chapter a man can read is the next one. We'll see you next time as we jump into the next two preview chapters of Wind and Truth.
And if you enjoyed this episode of the podcast, be sure to leave us a review on whichever platform you listen on. And if you have questions or theories, span read us at lostandroshar@gmail.com. See you next time on Lost and Roshar. And remember to keep that safe hand covered.